Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the Committee of Enforced Disappearances, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon and warmest greetings to you. On behalf of the Cambodian delegations, I would like to begin by first expressing our appreciation to the Chair and other members of the Committee on Enforced Disappearances for the opportunity today to convene here to consider the first national report of Cambodia submitted to the Committee on Enforced Disappearances on October 15, 2021. On behalf of the Cambodian delegation, we are honored to be before you to present and discuss Cambodia's report and to share further findings and clarification, as well as highlight our constant endeavors that we have made towards the implementation of the Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. We thank you graciously for putting your efforts to assist Cambodia in ensuring the physical convening of this meeting. The Royal Government of Cambodia has every faith that the constructive dialogues would yield fruitful results in providing substantial contribution to Cambodia's ongoing efforts to further improve the implementation of the Convention. Cambodia remains steadfast in collaborating with every member of the committee to take stock of helpful suggestions, observations, and recommendations received during this session. A brief introduction of the key members of our delegation, if you indulge me. Our interministerial delegation convening today includes His Excellency Nya Siakarin, Secretary of State from the Ministry of Justice, His Excellency H.E Sothie, Deputy General Commissioner of the National Police from the Ministry of Interior, and from the Cambodian Human Rights Committee, we have Her Excellency Long Sonita, Vice President of CHRC, and His Excellency Baponara, member of the Cambodia Human Rights Committee. And we also are joined by our colleagues from the Permanent Mission of Cambodia to the United Nations Office and other international organizations at Geneva, Mr. Nuon Ratirot and Mr. Kong Sepetra Daravitu. Mr. Chair, distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen, since this is Cambodia's first appearance before this committee, allow me to provide a brief history of Cambodia as an opportunity for us to also tell the world who we are and what we have done. And I believe as well that this will provide important context to the discussions to come today and as well as tomorrow. Cambodia is a small country with a big heart, with people who are full of kindness. Personally, I believe that we are kind because we as a people understand suffering very well. We have a tragic history. We underwent colonialism, genocide, civil war, and during the Khmer Rouge regime, as you may already know, state institutions that were the bedrock of Cambodian society, national infrastructure, intellectual resources were completely obliterated. In fact, the Khmer Rouge called it going back to year zero, and that is a term they adopted themselves. Nearly 2 million Cambodians died during this regime. And while many survived, they traumatically live with the memories of the regime and their lost loved ones. Others are left handicapped, widowed, and orphaned. These pervasive effects, as well as others, of wars continue to deeply scar Cambodia in present days. And I personally do not know any Cambodian who did not lose a loved one to the Khmer Rouge. Nevertheless, we are also a resilient people. We have resiliently made significant strides to overcome these devastating challenges. And in such a short span of time, Cambodia has grown into a country with peace, stability, dynamic growth, and economic, social, and cultural development. One of Cambodia's first steps towards peace and reconciliation as a post-conflict country was to seek justice and punish the most senior and responsible leaders of the Khmer Rouge. To put this into context of how we believe how this is significant to us, only a few international criminal convictions have been against heads of state. Through the extraordinary chambers in the courts of Cambodia, also known as the ECCC, Nuon Chea and Keo Sothie, who are among the highest levels of Khmer Rouge leaders, were convicted of genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. No other ASEAN Southeast Asian member states have established an internationalized or hybrid tribunal like the ECCC to address any ongoing or past atrocities. Cambodia has chosen not to cower, forget, or ignore past crimes that were committed, but face head-on with its genocidal past. In addition to adherence to international criminal law jurisprudence, Cambodia has also made an immense contribution to both global and domestic efforts to combat impunity for mass atrocity crimes. It has strengthened respect for the rule of law in Cambodia and helped heal wounds of the past, allowing people of this country to look to the future. As a result of its history, sustainable peace for continued development is Cambodia's utmost priority. The rapid and stable development of Cambodia should not be taken for granted, especially when considering the scale of failed states and the current ongoing conflicts across the world. To have gone through a genocidal regime with almost a quarter of its population lost, including targeted individuals that are classified as intellectuals, capitalists, or imperialists at the time, civil war for the next 14 years after the genocidal regime ended, and then emerge as a functional country where the general Cambodian population is able to reconcile and thrive is no small feat. With enduring peace and stability, resulting especially from the implementation of Samdech Techo Hun Sen's win-win policy, Cambodia continues to make notable progress on every front. Over the past 2 decades, poverty fell steadily at an annual rate of 1.6%. Cambodia's economy grew by more than 7% a year until COVID-19 broke out. Cambodia was hailed as one of the most successful countries in controlling the pandemic and recovering from its impact. Economic growth returned to 5.2% in 2022 and is projected to continue growing at 5.6% in 2023 once the official numbers come out. Millions of people have been lifted out of poverty with decent livelihoods, education, welfare, and significantly increased life expectancy, rising from 59 years in 1998 to 76.8 years in 2019. The country is steadily transitioning from a least developed to developing country status by 2027. Cambodia will also focus on expanding healthcare services to cover 9 million beneficiaries, providing vocational training to 1.5 million youths living in poor households, establishing internet services to all communes, schools, and health centers by 2024, and laying out electricity connection grids to all communes before 2030. And this is all thanks to sound government policies led by the former Prime Minister, Samdech Techo Hun Sen, and the current Prime Minister, Samdech Bohan Bovoltap Hun Manait, and our ability to maintain peace, stability, high economic growth, equitable distribution of benefits, and good cooperation with all stakeholders. More than 70% of Cambodia's sustainable development goals, indicators, and sub-indicators are well on track. Cambodia highly values and adheres to its engagement with the international community as well as its international commitments. It sees itself proudly as a member of the international community with respect for the rule of law. Because it is the rule of law that provides, especially for smaller countries like Cambodia, the best protection and guarantee of peace and stability in this dynamic and, we could say, complex world. Cambodia has ratified many international human rights instruments to demonstrate our commitment to the rule of law and protection and promotion of human rights. 8 out of the 9 core human rights treaties have been ratified and accepted by Cambodia. Cambodia has been actively involved and participated in all United Nations human rights mechanisms, along with other treaty bodies. To illustrate, since 1993, Cambodia has been the only country in the ASEAN region that has welcomed the presence of the Special Rapporteur and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to monitor human rights situations specifically in Cambodia, and has extended their mandates until the present time. Moreover, Cambodia has never denied any request for a country visit from the Special Rapporteur or any other dialogue partners. Cambodia remains devoted in upholding human rights protection and promotion on the national, regional, and global levels. The individual and collective rights of all citizens living on Cambodian territories are protected by the Constitution of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Our Constitution is pretty unique, and it is the only, if not one of the few, that actually enshrines the UN Charter and other international treaties within its Constitution. Article 31 states that the Kingdom of Cambodia shall recognize and respect human rights as stipulated in the United Nations Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the covenants and conventions related to human rights, women's and children's rights. Cambodia's constitution, again, is among the few that actually enshrines these UN documents. Every Khmer citizen shall be equal before the law, enjoying the same rights and freedom and fulfilling the same obligations, regardless of race, color, sex, language, religious belief, political tendency, birth origin, social status, wealth, or other status. And further, on the topic of human rights, the working group of the Cambodian Human Rights Committee has finalized the draft law on the organization and functioning of the National Human Rights Institution. Based on international standards, receiving technical cooperation from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights in Cambodia and the Asia-Pacific Forum on National Human Rights Institutions. The draft law was submitted to the general public for comments, and a total of 32 national, subnational, regional, and legislative consultations were conducted. This draft law was sent to the Council of Jurists of the Office of the Council of Ministers on 19 September 2023 for their review. Mr. Chair, distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen, enforced disappearance is a grave human rights violation, and we recognize that. Cambodia recognizes the serious human rights infringement nature of enforced disappearance, the necessity in punishing perpetrators, and the measures required to prevent any recurrence of this heinous crime. The Royal Government of Cambodia has taken concrete steps in reiterating its commitment by ratifying the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance on 27 June 2013, becoming the only country in Southeast Asia to ratify the convention, and is amongst the few in the Asia-Pacific region to have done so. After ratifying the convention, Cambodia has collaborated with the committee and produced the first national report that was later submitted before this committee on October 15, 2021, along with the responses to the list of issues dated December 27, 2023. In Cambodia, since the ratification of the convention, no one is under the circumstances of enforced disappearance within the definition of Article 2 of the convention. And without exception, under no circumstances may war situations or threats of war, internal political instability, or public emergencies be used as justification for enforced disappearance. Cambodians' right to life, liberty, and security is explicitly, as mentioned, enshrined in its constitution. Mr. Chair, distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen, Cambodia has adopted a number of legal, judicial, and administrative measures, as well as various policies, so as to ensure timely, effective, and comprehensive responses to any enforced disappearance-related issues. Cambodia maintains its position to fulfill obligations stipulated in the convention with the aim to protect all persons from enforced disappearance and promote its protection internationally. Cambodia has taken concrete steps in realizing the sacred aspirations of the people by transforming itself from a killing field, from a battlefield of chronic warfare, from national disintegration and territorial division, into a country of peace, unity, democracy, respect for human rights and the rule of law, and socio-economic development. These hard-earned achievements have been possible because of the unified efforts from the royal government, ministries, state institutions, and authorities at all levels, national stakeholders, continuous support and assistance from the international community, and especially the Cambodian people themselves. Mr. Chair, distinguished members, ladies and gentlemen, as I draw to a close, I would like to conclude my remarks by reiterating the significance of the convention. We are certain that the dialogue's results will direct us in advancing our efforts to enhance the royal government's implementation of the convention. We look forward to providing answers to your questions with sincerity and receiving constructive inputs and reflection for implementation. in the spirit of preventing, combating, and eliminating enforced disappearance. Thank you.